As many of you are aware, in modern society, we spend a lot of time sitting in chairs. Now, this is not necessarily the worst thing, although we can improve our posture when we're sitting, which improves the way that sitting affects us, so to speak. And there's definitely been a whole thing about people saying that sitting is the new smoking, and in some ways this is probably very true. Like, it's important for us to spend more time active and less time sitting in chairs. This is very true. At the same time, there is a beneficial way to sit where it's restorative for the posture, and this is more or less what traditional meditation practice is about. Now, you can take a lot of those teachings from meditation and apply them to daily life, once again, so that we know how to use our breath as a means to improve our posture, which then we can use these practices no matter when we are sitting, not just during a formal meditation practice. Of course, we all know this, it's just a matter of remembering to practice. So if you are new to this, then here we go. If you are familiar already, then this will be a refresher. So a big piece of the lungs, so to speak, or our ability to breathe, is the diaphragm. And the diaphragm is this big concave muscle that sits just below our rib cage, and it more or less affects the way that we breathe. And it sort of acts like a vacuum, where it actually naturally allows our body to inhale without having to perform any effort. And this is something that is unique to mammals, that say in reptiles, cold-blooded animals, their diaphragm is convex, so they are able to exhale, but they have to constantly work to inhale. So we, on the flip side, only have to work on exhaling instead of inhaling. Now, this makes a really big difference, and perhaps could be the reason why we actually are warm-blooded creatures in the first place, but that's neither here nor there. Now, when we understand that breathing diaphragmatically is probably one of the most important things that most of us are best suited to learn at this point, whether we are experienced or just starting to understand more about the breath and breathing exercises and how we tune into the breath as this vehicle for moving energy within us, that the breath essentially is usually driven by the muscles of the diaphragm, unless we spend a lot of time sitting. Now, there's plenty of different things we can do to help expand our diaphragm, so to speak, in terms of whether that's just getting more regular exercise, going for walks, practicing different forms of hatha yoga. We can really start to tune into the energy of the breath as we tune into our diaphragm. So this diaphragm is really responsible for about at least half of the oxygen in our lungs, or the lung volume that we're able to take in from, say, the lower half of our lungs, from the chest or just below the chest, all the way down to our lower belly. So the diaphragm is really important to learn how to engage. And for many people, that learning how to breathe diaphragmatically can help with digestive issues, low back pain, other forms of just dysregulated biology, where we can start to regulate our biology just by learning to breathe diaphragmatically. If there was one simple thing to say in terms of a practice for breathing diaphragmatically, other than specifically a breathing exercise, practicing some form of restorative yoga, so to speak, where we are in a back bend, and a back bend that's mild and gentle, not something that's overly intense for us, so to speak, that this is one of the first things that we can start to practice that's not going to be overly challenging. So something as simple as getting a pillow from your bed, maybe two pillows, and just laying on them on the floor, on your back, placing the pillows underneath your lower back, just so that if your belly button was on the top side, then the pillows would be just underneath your belly button, supporting your lower back as you lay back on the pillows. Now, of course, you can get as deep as you like with this back bend. If you're comfortable doing, full back bends, great. But anything that just allows the body to relax, sometimes even just laying flat on your back on the floor is enough. This can be challenging for the lower back for some of us, so keeping the knees bent if you need to is totally fine. But just laying down, perhaps with a slight back bend, and allowing the body to fully release and relax on a flat plane really allows us to start to tune in to the breath and the diaphragm. So if you feel like it's challenging to practice some breathing exercises while sitting up, you're more than welcome to practice them while laying down and supported by pillows. If you don't do what I just suggested with placing the pillows under your lower back, you can also support yourself in other ways that you find comfortable with pillows and a surface such as your living room floor. Now, if this is something that is challenging for you, I recommend going to see a teacher in general, any kind of movement, natural movement, yoga, personal trainer, someone who specializes in breathing for perhaps your population, and also receiving medical assistance if you feel that this is right for you at this time. So working with your care team, even with something as simple as breathing, really can be quite beneficial, and this is something that even the healthcare system is willing to work with other practitioners, say that are in allied healthcare, that kind of thing, because there is so much stress on the healthcare system already. They are, in fact, willing to support you in becoming well as quickly as possible. So believe in your ability to heal and the breath as a tool for that.